Hey everyone, this is Al from Phantom Correspondence. Um, Wanted to talk about Birds of Prey because that came out a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you knew. A lot of people didn't. Um, you can tell from the box office. But I'm, I'm not here to make fun of it or anything because I actually really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really fun. Um, Wanted to talk about something in the movie that I feel like needs to be talked about and haven't really seen it be talked about anywhere else, so I thought I'd bring it up. Um, so Warner Brothers is really ableist, aren't they? I mean, after watching Birds of Prey as a comic book fan, that's all I could really come away from it with is that Warner Brothers made a lot of ableist decisions with how they wanted to do the movie. To kind of explain what I mean, let's talk a bit about the history of Birds of Prey a little bit. One of probably the most famous characters from Birds of Prey historically has been the character Barbara Gordon. Um, Barbara Gordon, as a lot of you know, was the first person to be Batgirl. After she was paralyzed by the Joker, she became a very important character in comic book history named Oracle, who kind of ran things on the tech side for Batman, for Birds of Prey, for tons of different characters. Oracle was awesome. And she remains one of the most important characters in comic book history to ever have a disability and to excel beyond that disability and remain very able, remain very important, and remain very effective. Um, Barbara Gordon was not in the movie, which was an interesting decision, and I really didn't think too much of it since I guess they wanted to make a movie not too closely related to Batman. So it was just like, okay, I guess so. It would have been cool to see Oracle there because we don't really see a lot of people with disabilities in superhero movies, but okay, I'll give it a roll. Um, then there was Cassandra Cain, who, if you don't know a lot about Cassandra Cain is a character whose parents were like elite assassins. She was abused and mistreated by her parents in order for her to become like the best assassin ever or whatever. She was mute. She had a disability as well. If you saw the movie, I think you're starting to see where I'm going with this. She was mute, but even despite that, she kind of rose above that. She became a really effective vigilante in her own right. She became Batgirl as well. She was the third person to become Batgirl in the main continuity. And she was amazing. She overcame her disability, and she was an awesome, awesome hero. Now, Cassandra Cain is in Birds of Prey. Um, Whereas I like to refer to her in this iteration, female Jason Todd. Because they took this really awesome character idea and they turned it into a person who pickpocketed and stole stuff and had kind of a crappy attitude, which was later explained by her having a bad home life, which I guess having parents who were assassins who abused her kind of fit into having a bad home life. I don't know. But her character arc in the movie is that um, she went from being a pretty good pickpocket to, by the end of the movie, spoiler alert, she's a really good pickpocket. I don't know why Warner Brothers doesn't want to do characters with disabilities. And if they did want to, they had no better opportunity than the Birds of Prey. Um, and the reason why it bothers me so much is that I don't have that big of a deal with characters being slightly different from what they are in the comics. I really don't. If it's a huge difference, I usually have a problem with it. But I don't have a problem with it. Black Mask in Birds of Prey. Ewan McGregor was awesome. You'll never see that kind of character depiction of Black Mask in any of the comics, but I think it's an improvement. I thought it was awesome. The thing that bothers me is that when I think of these comic book movies and these depictions of comic book characters, I talked a little bit about this on Phantom Correspondence when I wrote a review of Captain Marvel a couple years ago. These characters have importance. These characters really carry weight. And one thing I thought has been awesome about the recent rush of comic book movies is these really powerful, strong, positive depictions of female characters. You have a Wonder Woman, who's awesome, who kicks ass, right? You have Captain Marvel, who's strongest Avenger, right? You have these wonderful, wonderful characters, and those are important because young girls, I don't have any kids, but if I did, if I had a daughter, I'd just be like, yo, watch Wonder Woman with me, watch Captain Marvel, because these are awesome characters for you to learn from and be inspired by, to be your own awesome kind of person, right? And Warner Brothers took Birds of Prey and thought, yeah, let's cash in on like the feminism thing, but like, I don't want any characters with disabilities. I'll get those out of here. Because just as much as Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, and even in this film, arguably, with Harley Quinn, being great characters for girls to look up to and just be like, oh wow, she's awesome, she's a badass, she takes possession of her own identity, she does all these things, she's independent. How much more would it have been awesome for a little girl who maybe is paraplegic, or who is mute or deaf or has a disease or condition or any other kind of disability, to go and see Barbara Gordon in a wheelchair still kicking ass? How awesome would it have been for them to go see Cassandra Cain be mute and come from all kinds of abuse and defeat all odds to be this really powerful character of her own? How awesome would that have been? And Warner Brothers was just like, I don't think that'll sell, but you know what will sell? Strong female characters. So let's shoehorn as many of those as we can in, but leave out anybody with disability. I don't want anybody who can overcome something like that. I haven't heard anybody else talk about this. And Warner Brothers needs to be held accountable for that type of disability erasure that they're doing. I just know, growing up, I have a speech impediment. Growing up, if I had seen a comic book character like have a really bad speech impediment and do awesome things, I would just been like, that was amazing. Like, I want to do that. I want to be that. It sucks because I know a lot of little girls who would have really been inspired and been empowered by seeing those characters that WB made the conscious decision to either leave out or change entirely. The reason why people love comic books and love superheroes is the characters. And the characters that inspire us and help us figure things out, help us figure out what to do with ourselves and who to be. It's not just about opinion anymore with Birds of Prey. I take every chance I get to trash Batman v Superman because I thought it did a terrible job of handling the characters. In a lot of ways, this is so much worse because people like me, like straight white dudes, like we've had the entirety of comic book history to have people to be inspired by. Like, one bad film won't change that for us. This really could have been something. And I think Warner Brothers' decision to be ableist, to make decisions to just be like, we don't want characters with disabilities, because who knows, whatever their idea was, probably just motivated by prejudice, actively damaged the potential for people with disabilities to have someone to be inspired by and look up to. And that's unfortunate. I want you to talk about this. Go on Twitter. Everybody has something they're angry about on Twitter. Make today something that's actually worth being angry about. at the Birds of Prey account, at the Warner Brothers Entertainment page or whatever. Get people talking about this, because this sucked. It really did. They had every opportunity to make a product that inspired a whole new group of people who could use some inspiration. And they consciously decided not to. And if that's not ableist, I don't really know what is.